Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Run Live, episode number 419. Baby, it is cold outside. Oh my God, I gotta tell you, it is freaking freezing here today, this morning, and it doesn't feel like it's warmed up. I think it was a toasty 7 degrees overnight, which is very, very cold. So I'm here with my little Nana blanket on. I've got my slippers on, my big Ugg boots. It's ridiculous. Doing what I can. First world problems, right? Staying warm in the house with the heater on. So what I wanted to talk with you about today is about dreaming. And I was thinking about this, we are typically conditioned to, like, right from the get-go, from when we're little, to strive to be successful, to do what we want, and this, that, and the other. But a lot of the time we've got all of these suggestions. We're very suggestible. All of these suggestions around what success looks like. And I think from me, what I have found is that, it's like that there's always been this push. You've got to make money, you've got to be happy, you want to create impact, you want to do all of these types of things, which is perfect and great. But I think some of the things that we forget to do as a parent, I really hope that I do this the right way. I know I'm human, I know I stuff up, and I know I make errors, and I am most certainly not the most perfect parent on the planet. And thank goodness, because that would be a very high standard to uphold. The thing that I say to my kids is, like, what you want is about what you want. Not, what I want for them is that they're happy and that they're successful in the way that success looks for them. And so I think sometimes what we can do, and I know this to be true for me, is that I can I used to get caught up in what I felt like I should be moving towards, or what I thought that I wanted. But I hadn't had that permission, I think, to work out what that was for me. So let me explain. So I remember as a teenager, particularly as a teenager, I've always had this really eclectic love of music, in the sense that I like different styles. I love 80s rock. I love a little bit of heavy metal now and again. I love throwbacks. I love I love old music. I love current music. I love top 40. Not a huge fan of alternative music. In Australia, there's a radio station called Triple J that plays a lot of different up and coming tracks, a bit less commercial, I suppose. Not so much top 40, and can't say that I'm a huge fan of that, but I can listen to some of it and I don't mind it. But for me, what I found, being a vulnerable teenager, as we are, my music tastes tended to be very influenced by who I was hanging out with. And, looking back, that was, I'm sure, a huge part of me, and an attempt to fit in. I was always worried about what other people thought, even though, I had my own taste in music. I was really caught up in trying to fit in. I looked confident on the outside. I know it looked like it was all fine, but I was very not on the inside, right? So if people like certain things, I've always loved the top 40 stuff. I always had this judgment that is so boring, that is so vanilla, it's so expected, it's so obvious. And, these other people that I knew seemed to be perhaps a little bit more edgy. Even with boyfriends, as I had different boyfriends over the years, my music taste seemed to almost adapt and change with that as well. Not because I don't know, it's just really weird. I was just heavily influenced by what was going on around me. And I guess from a business perspective, when I started out in this business, I didn't really have business role models, so to speak, outside of my mentors. And the mentors that I had for a really long time were very, revenue, grow your business as big as you possibly can. I don't actually think that there was a conversation entertained with many of them, maybe with one as an exception, over the years about what it was ultimately that I really, really wanted. And it sounds a bit funny, but for a really long time, I just, my measures of success were based on what everybody else's measures of success were versus what I really created and designed what my measures of success looked like. So for me, it was like this permission, gave myself permission to dream, and it really took lots of tiny fractures over time of different things, different expectations, different wants, dreams, desires, goals, all of that type of thing, to kind of go, all right, like, what is it that I actually really, really want? And it wasn't until I kind of stopped and I've gone, you know what, I want to help people. Yes, I want to make a buttload of money. I want to have big impact. I want to help people I want to inspire them and motivate them to live the lives that they want, that they really want to achieve. But the thing that I don't ever want to do is say, this is what success has to look like for you. Success might be for you, might be making an extra $2,000 a month so that you can take your family on a holiday. Maybe success to you is doing 10 grand a month. Maybe success to you is 100 grand a month. Maybe success to you is 400 grand a month. Like, I actually, it is, to be a bit blunt, like, I actually don't care what your goal is. I just want to help you get that. I just want to help you achieve that, whatever it is for you. And I think it's really interesting how when I ask people, what do you want? And they tell me the normal things. I'm like, yeah, but what is it that you really want? And I don't think that any of us really give ourselves or gift ourselves enough time and space to sit down and actually work out what is it that you really want. Because if you really want freedom, then you've got to be careful. You got to be aware of how you're growing and building your business. I mean, freedom to me is not sitting on the phone all day, every day, either with clients. As much as I love you, I don't want to sit on the phone all day long with clients at the exception of all else, at the exclusion of all else. I don't want to be sitting on social media all day, every day either, actually, at the exclusion of all else. To me, I don't want to feel like that there's this, that I have to do something because I'm not obligated, but, I don't want the reason that I want a freedom-based business is so that I can work where I want, when I want, how I want, and in the way that I want to do it with the people that I love to do it with, right? So that to me is freedom. I did the opposite when I built the business to $1 million a year. I was like, okay, I want freedom, but I couldn't take a fucking week off without my head exploding, right? Hey, Carmen, good morning. The definition of a freedom-based business is not being able to go and take an hour off, to go and hang with your clients, to go and write, to journal, to do whatever. To me, that is not the definition of a freedom-based business. But that's my definition of what a freedom-based business looks like. And it's perhaps not how you define it. So the thing that I really want to encourage you to do today is to sit down and actually be honest with yourself about what it is that you actually want. Give yourself permission to dream. And I know that for some of you, it's about trailblazing and, making your way onto really big stages. I know for some of you, it's about being the kingmaker. Sitting behind the scenes, helping everybody else become successful. I know for some of you, it's about bringing all of those people along on that journey with you, and so that you're all standing side by side. Some of you are the silent cheerleaders. Some of you are the I'm with you cheerleaders. Some of you are like, hey, I'm out the front, I'm cheerleading, let's do this, as a leader. But whatever it is for you, it doesn't have to be what I think it is. It has to be what you think it is. It has to be what you want. It has to be about your goals, your dreams, your desires, and how you want to build your communities, how you want to build your business, how you want to make money. Because let's be honest, you're in business, you need to make money. So you've also got to have a look at this. So there's one thing that I want you to look at, and that is, what is it that you want? And how do you want to do that? And then the converse, or the flip side of that is, what don't you want? And what are you unwilling to do? And these two things need to be examined and go together, like they're like peas and carrots, right? These two things need to be examined and they need to go together. And I think until you know what you don't want, sometimes it can be hard to work out what you do want. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine going back a number of years ago when I realized what it was like to feel free of anxiety. And what I mean by that is that I'd been living with anxiety without a label, and I didn't know this at the time, and I didn't know this in the past, but I'd always had this kind of, it was just like, it's like having an arm, right? And then it's not until you don't have that arm, or for me, like when I broke my leg or broke my wrist, until I couldn't use my hand, I didn't realize how much I relied upon it or how much it was, how much it was there. It sounds obvious, but you get the metaphor. So for me, I'd done this session with a wonderful woman called Ursula, and I've just gone, oh my God, like I feel really weird. I physically felt really weird. I've gone, that sick feeling that was in my tummy, like right below, right below your solar plexus, right? So like look at my nana blanket, it's so cold. Like, so right here, so my rib cage is just there and my solar plexus is just there. And I was like, oh man, like I don't feel, there's no tension there. That's really weird. I don't feel kind of like that. There was a funky feeling that was gone that I couldn't even identify as being a funky feeling until it was gone. So sometimes in the absence, we don't realize what we want until the absence of it makes it apparent. Does that make sense? To me, it makes sense. So I trust that, and I hope that it makes sense for you. Because for me, it was like, okay, wow, I've been living with anxiety like this, like that feeling that I don't recall not having that feeling. Like even like when I was 13 years old, 12 years old, I remember that feeling being there. I don't know why it came, but now that it's gone, and I'm in my 30s, when that was gone, I was like, holy shit, I've been living with this forever. Like that's a lot of fucking baggage to carry around. And then it wasn't until it was gone that I realized, wow, there you go. So sometimes you don't know what you want until it's gone. You don't know what you want until you know what you don't want. But the big thing that I want to remind you of is that it's okay for you to dream. It's okay for you to plan. It's okay for you to want what it is that you want in the way that you want it. So be really vigilant about how it is that you're then going to go ahead and create that. Because once you know what you want, you can then start to reverse engineer the actions that you're going to undertake to be able to make that all happen. But give yourselves permission to dream. So that is my little sermon for you today about dreaming. Permission to dream, please and thank you. This is also the last day that you get to come and play along in Contentology if you haven't already registered for that. It is closing at midnight tonight. I'll put up a few posts today about that to remind you, and then the doors are closing and I will not be doing a last hurrah like I did yesterday. So jump in on that. We're having so much fun in there. We've already got people who have increased their reach. Their posts are performing even better than what they were before the weekend. So I'm really excited to see what pans out over the rest of the month in Contentology. The link is in the video description. You can jump in there. It is nicoletjmorass.com/Contentology, spelt how it sounds if you are listening on the audio. All right, my friends, I am going to love you and leave you. Get out there, go help some people, have a whole ton of fun doing it, and remember the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. I will see you tomorrow, if not before. Bye.